Assalamualaikum. My name is Khairunisa and today I want to present about company's background, liquidity ratio and part of efficiency ratio of EcoShop Marketing Berhad. If you guys want to know, EcoShop was established in 2003 in Gemas, Johor. Started with only one store. Today in 2026, they have more than 371 stores around Malaysia. I wonder why is EcoShop very famous, especially among Malaysian people. This is because EcoShop offers a wide variety of products such as food, general merchandise, non-food items, and also soft-lines products with very affordable prices to their customer. All the products were sold with the price started from 2 ringgit 60 cents only. And that's why EcoShop is very famous, especially among the Malaysian people. I will explain about the liquidity ratio. First ratio is current ratio. Current ratio of EcoShop increased from 1.30 times in 2024 to 1.80 times in 2025. Why they can be increased? It is because EcoShop has strong ability to pay its current liabilities using its current asset. Second, quick ratio. The quick ratio increased from 0.26 times in 2024 to 0.776 times in 2025. This means EcoShop improved its liquid assets and became less dependent on inventory to settle its short-term liabilities. Third is net working capital. Net working capital increased from 126.089 million ringgit in 2024 to 400.651 million in 2025. This is due to the supported by higher cash and bank balance, and therefore EcoShop has more working capital available to support its daily operation. Next, I will continue with the efficiency ratio. For the inventory turnover ratio, increased from 4.60 times in 2024 to 4.83 times in 2025. This improvement indicates that EcoShop manages its inventory more efficiently. The increase also mainly due to the expansion of its store network, allowing products to be sold faster and inventory to more efficiently. And next is average collection period. Average collection period increased from 1.20 days to 1.27 days. And also the company took the longer times to collect its debts, but the increase was very small. And EcoShop continues to maintain its effective credit control and efficient collection practices with a low level of credit risk.
Next is fixed asset turnover. The fixed asset turnover is 6.69 times in 2025, higher than previous year's 6.81 times due to EcoShop opening 74 new stores and increase in customer transaction. Next is total asset turnover. The total asset turnover decreased from 1.50 times compared with 2024, 1.88 times due to the company generating lower revenue of every ringgit invested in total asset. Next is total asset turnover. The total asset turnover decreased from 1.50 times compared with 2034, which is 1.88 times due to the company generating lower revenue of every ringgit invested in total asset. Now we go to leverage ratio. First, we have debt ratio. Debt ratio of EcoShop Marketing Berhad decreased in 2035, 45.56% compared to 2024, 56.66% due to other receivable comprised mainly of rental and security deposit for the premise rented, as well as other debtors that have good record of payment in the past are considered to have low credit risk. Next is debt to equity ratio. Debt in equity ratio is decreased from 87.30% in 2035 compared to 2034, which is 130.71% because of there are undrawn borrowing facility available and expected positive cash flow from the company ongoing operations that can be used to refinance borrowings lease liabilities. Capital expenditure and general working capital. The last one is time interest earned. Time interest earned is decreased from 10.67 times in 2034 to 10.22 times in 2025 due to the group and the company has no long-term interest bearing assets or liability as at 31 May 2035. The bank borrowing in financial liability are mainly short-term in nature which are drawn down for working capital purpose. Now I'm going to talk about profitability ratio. For this ratio, we have gross profit margin. For this company, gross profit margin improved from 26.401% in 2034 to 28.80% attribute to higher contribution from house brand in 2035 and price increase of 20 cents effective 14 April 2025. Next is net profit margin. For net profit margin slightly decreased from 7.40% in 2034 to 7.35% in 2035. This decline may be due to higher operating costs, including increased labor expenses following the implementation of the new minimum wages policy. In addition, the increase in excise duty on sugar sweetened beverage may have affect consumer demand and sales performance.
Next is the return on assets, which was from 13.94% from 2024 to 11.05% in 2025. The reason why it was declined because the total assets grew significantly at 45% increase in cash, which was the IPO proceeds of 392 million increase, 92 million ringgit Malaysia increase in cash and money of market funds. This also because the funds are not fully deployed into income generating assets in new stores, significant mostly of it. Next is the return on equity from 32.17% to 20.67%. This is the same issue with return on asset because the equity was doubled in cash at 79%, which is also due to IPO proceeds, which also led to a dilution effect, where the company is holding more equity capital but hasn't yet generated proportional returns from it. Strengths of EcoShop is having a strong liquidity position where their current ratio has improved to 1.8 times and their net working capital is increased to 400 million ringgit Malaysia. They also have higher revenue and profit, which grew to 16%, which it remained healthy. They also have good business expansion by having 371 stores nationwide and will be opening more stores in years to come. They also have lower financial risks, which in debt to equity dropped from 1.31 times to 0.87 times, meaning their liabilities are much more lower than their total assets, which is a good grade for a company to have. They also have improved gross margin, meaning that they have better supplier terms and good pricing strategy. Next is the weaknesses. The weaknesses that EcoShop face is having lower total asset turnover, meaning that total assets grew faster than the revenue due to IPO cash. This also says the same towards return on asset and return on equity as well, which are also decreased because of the dilution effect from IPO. which makes the return on capital lower, much lower. Next is the operating costs. The operating costs were increased a lot because the more stores that you've opened, the more higher wages that you need to pay, as well as the expenses, the IPO expenses that you also need to pay as well. And EcoShop's net margin is slightly lower as well because the costs grew faster than their revenues, meaning that their revenue is not higher than their total expenses, which makes it a little bit harder for EcoShop to handle. The risk of EcoShop if they don't maintain it is because there will be higher operational expenses for stores, and they have a high dependency on global suppliers. So they will be facing a lot of issues with geopolitical or shipping issues within their marketing, to be precise. They also can be exposed to climate related risks such as floods or extreme weather affecting store operations. Sometimes they can also be exposed to malware, which is cybersecurity threats, which is digitalization for data breaches. And they also have good competition with new entrants or price wars in the affordable retail segment. I recommend EcoShop to continue opening stores in undeserved areas to increase revenue and market share in suburban areas, while also increasing their house brand products to improve gross profit margins, because higher margins are very more crucial than in branded goods. We also want to recommend better inventory management from EcoShop to improve their asset utilization and reduce holding costs, because their return on assets ratio was really horrible during the year 2025. It was horrible. We also want EcoShop to continue digitalization to applications and loyalty programs to increase operational efficiency and customer retention. Because the more customers you get customers' attention, the more money that you will have, the more revenue that you will be having during the year. So it is a major takeaway that EcoShop will have to take. Next, we also want to recommend cost control in labor and operating expenses, as well as having sustainability initiatives, which is energy efficiency, to protect net profit margin from further erosion, while also reducing electricity costs and carbon footprint. And lastly, we also want to recommend EcoShop to monitor foreign exchange exposure to protect themselves against currency fluctuations in global sourcing.